So this week I discovered that I can only sleep on a pile of old magazines. Apparently I've got back issues.
Kiddo.
And I will leave it there. I'm not going any further. That's it. I'm not doing another one. There you go. Hello everyone and welcome to the Black Dog version 2, episode 91. I'm Lee.
I'm Bill Maynard.
I'm Tony.
Oh,
I can't think of anything. I'm Elton.
Oh God! Stop the fucking banging of the fucking thing. Oh God, it's going to be a long one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I can feel it right now.
Darren, are you carrying a plank of wood over your shoulder, and every time you turn around, you whack it against the microphone?
No, not at all.
Bill Maynard is.
I'm carrying on. No, yeah, Bill Maynard is doing the banging. It's not me. It's not me. It's Bill Maynard. He's also carrying a hod of bricks at this very moment in time. And a bucket full of mortar.
You're the last person I would have thought that would know that word.
What? A hod of bricks.
Hod of bricks.
That's my word for the day. I've got it on a calendar over here. Hod.
Hod.
Meaning conveyance for small brick-type objects.
Which means he really doesn't know it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, hello everyone. It's going to be a long night. Welcome to episode 91. This week we'll see how everyone's week's been. I don't think we got any feedback for last week's episode. Though if we do, while I'm looking at it, I will obviously read that back. And then we will move on to this week's movie, which is Elton's choice, which is
Jim and Andy. And
yes.
Something about Beyond.
The Great Beyond.
The Great Beyond, yes.
The Great Beyond. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond. The story of Jim Carrey being Andy Kaufman, being Tony, what's his face, being something else perhaps as well. But we'll get to that soon enough. We'll start with Jim. See how your week's been, Jim. Not Jim Carrey, Jim Moon. Jim, how's your week been, sir?
This could all get very confusing.
It's going to get worse. I can already feel it. This has disaster written all over it. This podcast. If this makes it out to the light of day, I'm going to be calling that a win. I'm not even going to edit. I'm just going to just throw it out there. I tell you. Anyway, how's your week been, sir?
Not too bad as it goes. Not really done an awful lot. We've been very, very busy fighting deadlines and whatnot. Not really say. What have I done? Maybe watching a lot of old film noirs actually.
Oh, really?
Having watched the original Nightmare Alley. And,
yeah.
Still completely failed to watch the Del Toro version. I want to have a bit of space between viewing them, you know. So. But I thought I'm going to look more into some of these film noirs, and I found kind of because you always think of film noir as being kind of, you know, the Humphrey Bogart hard-boiled sort of detective pictures, but actually a lot more of them, a lot more sort of they're not that sort of hard-boiled pulp. And they're just kind of stories about people getting into fucked up situations and usually completely making a pig's ear of a crime. But it's quite interesting because a lot of them kind of, I think these are some like the first films where you're getting like proper actual psychopaths. Not you know, kind of like Agatha Christie style murderers who murder one person and they murder everybody else to keep them quiet. You're actually getting proper people who are actually like literally sociopathic, who just do fucked up things for no reason in them. So I watched a great one called Beware My Lovely with Lyda Lupino, who she hires this handyman.
All right.
This handyman, however, has a memory problem, which means he literally has kind of these blackouts and he can't remember what he is and where what he's doing, which gives him a rather short temper.
Oh.
But also, if he's losing it, if you can keep him occupied for 5 minutes, he'll actually forget he's angry with you. And it's just this strange kind of... It's in a weird way, it's like a 40s sort of similar thing to Memento, because you've got a character who can't remember, and it's basically just them locked in the house, and he won't let her leave, so he can't always remember why he's keeping her there.
Oh, right.
It's really good. Watch some of the classic, like Double Indemnity, which is a classic kind of man makes a terrible mistake, gets involved in committing a crime, and the woman he's helping is a complete sociopath who will throw anyone under the bus.
Oh, right. Sounds like a winner.
yeah. There's some great ones. So Among the Living, which everyone knows from an Anthrax song, is an old film noir as well, and that's kind of like a more gothic one. But there's a lot of interesting movies out there. I've been rather enjoying watching these films because a lot of them are quite surprising for the time. And because you remember back then they didn't have like phrases like sociopath or serial killer, but you quite clearly got cinema tackling that kind of crime, and there's no master detective to sort it out. So that's been quite a breath of fresh air. And,
that sounds good. What service you been watching them on, or are you just culling them from DVDs and all around the world?
Kind of, yeah. Not really. There's a few. There's a couple on Amazon Prime, and a few others turn up on YouTube. Some of the more obscure ones that are kind of in like copyright limbo. Oh, and archive.org have quite a few as well of the more obscure ones. You can
nice.
Download allegedly legally. I don't know. It's the world of archive.org. There's all sorts of stuff there. Should it be there? I don't know. It's not my problem.
Yeah, unless there's someone kicking my door in and demanding that I hand over copyright rights. Just no. Cool. Okay, so that sounds cool because you always see these film noirs. Sort of everyone goes, "Oh, film noirs, the old classics, and all this kind of thing," and then you sort of think, "Well, I should watch them," but there's nowhere to bloody watch them, or at least nowhere to watch like a collection of them anyway. Which goes back to my old problem with streaming in general. But cool. No, I mean if they're floating about, I mean put some links up if you can, sir, or throw them my way, or stick them on the Facebook group. That will be much appreciated.
I think I'll Beware My Lovely on archive.org, and that's a belter. Right. That's a really interesting movie of a. Probably the most fucked up Christmas movie ever, actually. It's set at Christmas.
Oh, right.
But it's probably also the very first like Bad Santa movie, kind of.
You should hold that off. Hold that off until Christmas. If we're still if we can find it by Christmas, we'll have that. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, cool. Anything else, sir? Or are you?
That's about it, really. Apart from playing post-apocalyptic games, we have to manage survivors in a zombie-infested world, slowly eating my time. Doing important things. But
what game's that? What game's that? Just out of interest.
That's State of Survival.
Oh, right.
It's quite good. You send people out to batter some zombies or collect some oil or something, and then you get a notification on your phone going, "Your troops return." All right, I'll do something else. Click, click. There we go.
Nice.
It's quite good fun.
Sounds a bit like
stupidly addictive in a slow burn sort of way.
All right. Sounds a bit like Fallout Shelter, which was out for a while. Is that fair? I haven't looked it up. I'm not Googling.
I've not really seen Fallout Shelter, but this is kind of you've got it's a bit like RTS. You've got like a base you can build and add buildings and upgrade them and harvest stuff. But then there's an open world where you can go out to look for stuff and trouble.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then there's like out in the world, there's little sort of mission bits where you get to control a little squad of guys, sort of classic RPG style, and you put a little squad of different heroes together with different skills and go into little bunkers and whatnot and weed out all the zombies and fucked up mutants.
Oh, lovely.
So it's quite good. It's like a little taster of everything on your phone.
Nice.
And you can just play for a couple of minutes, then do something else, and come back and nudge something else along in real time. Which is kind of what I like about it. It's that kind of very lazy gaming.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, maximum amount of effort just by basically just sitting on the toilet for 5 minutes, just flick a couple of people out into the world. Just go, yep, job done. Move on. Cool. Okay, are you playing it on your phone or is it a PC thing or what?
It's just on mobile, I believe.
Okay.
Cool. It's actually on PC as well, by the looks of it.
Cool. Okay. Well,
I think that's what it says on this website.
Nice.
Play for free on your PC.
Ah.
Yeah, you have to run an emulator, I believe, the blue something to get it on the PC.
Could very well be, yeah.
Cool. That sounds good. I like the sound of that. Though free gaming. Oh, we did that last week or week before, wasn't it? Just they'll get you. They'll get you with the old microtransactions. They'll have you.
They will.
Cool. Okie dokie. Well, in which case, if there's nothing further, sir, I will move on to Elton. And Elton.
Yeah.
Hello.
Here I am.
Here you are. And have you got anything for us, sir? How was your weeks?
It's been the last 2 weeks have been very, very quiet, but very, very pleasant as well. So no dramas in that respect. The only thing I have, hang on, what thing did I watch? That's it. I sat down and watched Jackass.
What, the new one?
Well, I thought it was the new one. It was like the documentary of the new one, though.
Oh, 4.5.
4.5, yes. I sat down thinking, oh, okay, this is like the new one with bonus bits, isn't it? And then sat through it. It's like, it's not, is it? It's definitely not. No.
It's just the bonus bits.
It's bonus bits.
Yeah,
but do you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I am one of them idiots that do actually enjoy Jackass. And I found it. There are moments. I think it's now pure nostalgia of watching it from 20 odd, maybe even longer ago now, wasn't it? But watching it on MTV. But watching this was just okay. We're all a bit older. We're supposed to be all a bit wiser, and here we are doing the same shit again.
Hey, that could be said about a lot of different entertainment.
It could be, yes.
Oh, God,
Pause for realization that we're now in our 13th year.
Oh,
don't. Oh, don't.
We are.
Yeah, keep doing the same thing. Keep hitting the same horse, hoping that one day.
Is it dead yet?
Is it dead yet?
No. Okay.
No.
Change it a little bit.
Yeah. But I had real fun with it.
Yeah?
It was, there were some moments where it's just, okay, they're just chatting for chatting's sake. We all know exactly what's going to happen in the next bit, but yeah, it's still right up my alley. Yeah, some of it is shit, but I won't ruin it. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or not, but yeah, it's fun, man.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the other guys, but as far as it goes with Jackass, I've always had that love-hate relationship with it. I watch it for 5 minutes, laugh, and then move on. I don't feel the need to watch more than like 5 or 10 minutes. And other times I'll watch it and just go, straight away and just bail. I really have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the mood for it and it catches me at the right time, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Other times I'll watch it and I'll be looking at it and going, what on earth am I doing? I could be doing literally anything right now.
Yeah, anything would be more productive than watching this, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't really have strong feelings either way. I find it kind of comes and goes on what I like about it.
Yeah. You know, I've only got one part of Jackass that I remember well, and I've always laughed at, and that's Party Boy. Where he sort of, he'll be in a electrical shop, and then he'll be in Japan, and the bloke will come out all of a sudden, he'll whop his costume off, and he's got like the spangly pants, and it's the dancing. And it's the same fucking joke every single time, but it still makes me giggle. But that's about it. I think the closest I get to enjoying something like that is watching stupid idiots on sort of like the little films on Facebooks where they're being very serious about their parkour art. It's like I saw one. Was it just recently? This bloke, you see him. It's from his point of view, right? Okay, you see him run across this fucking rooftop, and he leaps over and he goes to land on what looks like, those posts you can get with like they've got a flat concrete slab on the top just to make them look pretty. He lands on that. He's about 3 floors up, right? He lands on that only to realise that the actual slab on top isn't fucking secured, and so goes down. It's the fucking dirt while hitting everything else on the way down. You see the camera just boom, 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 boom.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Well, I thought it was going to land properly. Yeah, but you didn't, did you?
No.
That's it. Go home, stay there.
Cool. Yeah. Again, I wish I had more. I wish I had more feelings about it. But those kind of things is like the what's it, the sort of, the pain collapsing through doors and all that kind of stuff, and all the idiots on various GIFs and memes. I just find I can't watch it. I just go, yeah, okay, I know where this is going, and then
I've seen this film before.
I know where this is going. In 2 seconds, he's going to either rip his testicles off or he's going to fall face first at 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
Yep.
And I just go, nah, I'm out straight away. I don't know why. I think it's just just too many years of you being framed and shit like that on telly. I'm just like, nah, I know where this is going. Oh, someone's drunk and standing on a table. Well, I wonder what's going to happen here. I wonder why they're filming it.
Do you think this is where Casualty gets all its scripts from? You think they just go, what are we going to do this week? Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look at some fucking obvious accidents on YouTube, shall we?
Oh, grandma twerking in the background of a wedding disco.
Yeah. This week's Casualty. Yeah.
Man attacked by penguins by climbing into zoo.
This man whacked a fucking male lion right on the bollocks with this meat cleaver. Let's see what happens to him, shall we? You'll be surprised at the response of the lion.
You'll never guess what happened next. Yeah, click here. Then thumbnail on the front of Casualty of everyone going, oh, with big red circles around it and arrows. Anyway. Yeah. Sorry, Elton. We just kind of went off on one. Go on.
Fine. There was one. I don't know if I'm guessing it is in the main film as well, but there is a bit where 2 guys play ping pong, but the ping pong table is in between. It's really hard to describe. It's sandwiching their manhoods.
What?
So they have 2. Imagine 2 glass. Plexiglass pieces of plastic, about A4 size,
right,
with wing nuts and nuts all the way round.
Yeah.
More a few nuts involved, I think. More ways than one.
And they place their gentleman's bit in between and then clamp it down. I didn't realise it would do that, like that flat. And then because they're joined now, they play a game of ping pong on the plastic bit that's in between them, which is really rather good. They get quite a good rally out of it. But
Fuck me, you won't see that on Grandstand, I'll tell you.
no, but I didn't realise how flat that would go. And we are talking like CD type of thickness.
Oh, God.
Stop it.
I just.
And then they play a tug of war as well.
Oh, no. Oh, God. For fuck's sake. Oh, don't.
I know,
realise
I've lowered
this.
the tone. I didn't realise I could, but I have.
No, don't.
I think you've raised it for this podcast, mate.
I was going to say, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Over the last 13 years, we know we've done bad things.
Oh yeah,
we've said bad things. We've said things we shouldn't have done. Let's just all accept that we've grown as people and moved on.
Yep.
That's all. All right. Not by much, but just significantly enough that we're not being hounded out of the internet with pitchforks.
Well, cancellation could come for us at any time now. What day is it today?
I don't know. Just don't mention anything and we'll be fine. But anyway, we'll be cool.
But with all that being said, I think that is the highlight of my week. So that's it.
Right. Okay. So yeah, table tennis testicles.
Possibly, yeah. I didn't play it though. That wasn't me. I just watched
highlight of your week.
Table tennis testicles. Then that would be a title for this podcast for sure.
We can get iTunes, or would we?
No, we wouldn't get an
they
iTunes.
wouldn't like that, would they?
We've already been banned from bloody Spotify. What more do you want? How many other streaming services you got to take us off? YouTube won't monetize us. Spotify won't have us. Yeah. And then you get emails going, why don't you monetize your podcast? Motherfucker, I can't even monetize it on YouTube. YouTube just goes, nope. Anyway.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, so, okay then, we'll leave that there then. So we'll move on to Darren. Darren, how was your week/fortnight, mate?
Well, it's a lot less exciting than the game of the same name, I'll tell you that now.
Table tennis testicles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's even beaten me hands down. I really haven't done that much in the last couple of weeks, except maybe just sit at home and rest and whatever.
Table tennis testicles.
Table tennis testicles. I did watch a couple of things. So.
Go on. Yeah.
Right. Normally I'd start with the good, but I'm going to start with the bad.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, yeah, let's do that. Start with the bad. Now there are. Like there are some films that people say are absolute classic. Oh, look at this film! Look, you can. Oh, the director. Oh, small beginnings. This is how he got to where he is today, and all that bullshit. I watched one of these so-called classics a little while ago. A little film by David Cronenberg called Shivers.
Shivers.
Right? Shivers. Now, Rhea's been given 2 David Cronenberg films to watch, right, by a person she knows in work. He said, "Yeah, watch these," and I'm like, "So we've got Shivers, and the other one is Rabid, right?" And
right.
To tell you the truth, maybe this is why I haven't watched Rabid, sort of like yet, because I watched Shivers, and it's not a great advert for the person's way of doing things.
Right.
How can I describe how shit this film is? Right, okay. Basic premise is there are people in this tower block that get infected with this parasite that makes them become a bit rapey. That's it, right? And it's not just like men against women, women against men, blah blah blah. It can also be, shall we say, it can also get a bit keeping it in the family as well.
Right.
Which is the one bit where I went, I don't know what I'm fucking watching here. I really don't. Right. All the dialogue is fucking mumbled.
Right.
It's like they're actually recording this in a room 3 houses away. Everybody talks like this. Oh right. Oh look, we're about to get killed. Oh,
right.
Yes, we better run quickly this way.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Oh God.
Now, do you know what?
I think that's either your telly or your copy, to be honest.
No. They were all talking like this. There's nobody actually quite animated about anything in this film, right? They're all pretty sort of low.
Okay.
Everybody. And it's pretty piss poorly acted as well. I'm not joking. Anyway.
I mean, I will say right now, I've not seen this, okay, but I do know that there's a certain cult of around it because it's and then there's also a lot that needs to be forgiven because it's a 1975 low budget body horror.
Hold on. Right, okay.
With a budget of $179,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure around about the same time Dawn of the Dead came out, right? And
I remember you didn't like that either, though, did you?
Dawn of the Dead. No, I did like Dawn of the Dead.
I don't think you did. If you go back to the episode, we covered it. You
it was
hated
about.
it.
It's still a better film than Shivers. It really is.
I would agree with that, though. Shivers was his first movie, though. It was pretty much made for student film festivals.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there were much better films out at the time, though, than they're probably on the same sort of budget. You know, it did have that sort of feel of Dawn of the Dead about it. You know, certain the way it was filmed in certain ways, but no, it wasn't very good at all. I'm not quite sure why it's considered a classic, but then that's me. That's my own personal point of view on it. You know.
Okay.
Nah, not for me.
Not for
not
you.
For me.
Nah,
not
God
for me
bless
at all.
you.
Nah, God bless you. Nah, God bless you.
Right, okay.
So the other film I saw, which was a completely flip on that, was Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Michelle Yeoh film about a woman called Evie who can, let's see, how can I put it succinctly? She can contact other alternate versions of herself in different realities, and actually not only draw on the memories of them, but also draw on their skills. That's all I'm really, really willing to say about it, because I think people should see it. I loved it.
Yeah?
I really, really, really liked it.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. Please don't make a sequel, is all I'll say.
From what I mean, I've not seen it yet, but from what I understand, it seems a little hard to make a sequel.
Well, things have been made sequels of before, haven't they? That you thought would be hard to make a sequel of, but somebody's just made a sequel because, money.
Money.
Yeah.
We done like the monies.
We did like the monies, yes. I like money.
I love money.
I like money. Performances all round. Just absolutely brilliant. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it as well. And also Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, right.
He's in it. He plays Michelle Yeoh's husband in that.
Cool. That's a little weird.
Yeah. No,
I got mental whiplash. I'm picturing him as he was in Temple of Doom.
Exactly, yeah. No, of course it's not a small child.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Like
the Crankies.
Yeah. Oh, that's wrong.
This has gone to a dark place.
Yeah. He never experienced a growth spurt at all. So it's like, he is the same size as he was back then.
Round.
Yeah.
Still very short round.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, keep the hat on. Jesus.
Everybody in it is really, really good in this. The performances all round. If you can get to see it, please do watch it. I've not seen anybody have a bad word to say about it yet.
Cool.
I'm sure there's somebody out there who probably didn't get on with it.
Yeah,
that much, but okay. I loved it. Really, really good.
Lovely.
It's a nice. It's a good, hopeful film.
Oh, right.
Even so,
So that'll make a change.
Indeed, it does get there. It gives you the feels.
Oh, cool.
Various parts. So, and lots of good. Oh, there's such good combat in it as well when they do like major fight sequences, including one that uses, as the Americans call it, a fanny pack to great effect.
Okay.
I'm not shitting you, right? And there's even a bit using that fanny pack that made me go,
no.
Back away from it. Back away from the joke now.
It's hanging there like ripe fruit, Jim. You want to reach up and grab it.
Is it any better than the British version of it, which is a bum bag?
No, just
no. It's heads you win, tails you lose.
It is, yeah. There is just nowhere you can go with it.
Whoever wins, we lose. There's no coming out of that one.
No, not at all.
Oh, God. Okie dokie.
So, yeah.
Cool. So you recommend it. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
And it's
Yes,
not a
very
barn
much
or
so.
too long either.
No, I didn't think it was.
Cool.
I mean, some people might. I don't know. It's about, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I will definitely check that out.
Indeed.
I have it to check out. I have to check it out. Anything else, sir?
Oh, only apart from finishing What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, man. Just, what can I say? One character by the end of it, I won't mention which one it is. Probably the one you least expect just pulls out, for a vampire, becomes extraordinarily human. For stuff that he does in the very last episode, and it is, I don't know, it's just like, God bless you, sir. You know, it's just, what can I say? It's a fucking great show, right? It never once misses its mark.
No,
it really doesn't. The laughs are all there. Everybody, you know, all the characters you get in it, everybody in it is well cast.
Mark Hamill and his Billy Bass.
Exactly. Mark Hamill is Billy Bass. So they've had quite a few, especially in this season, seeing as, you know, Taika Waititi is now sort of like big news in Hollywood. He's able to pull in just about anybody he wants, especially when they do like the vampire council stuff. And it's a surprising people. Even in this season, the one member of the vampire council that shows up,
You're on mute.
Oh, Jesus.
You're on mute.
No, it's not even that. It's the one person that comes to the house. It's one of the actors who was in what was it? What fucking movie was it? He was in Gotham, and he was in was it Blade? Yes, it was. He was in Blade, the vampire. Yeah, who turns out to be a real vampire.
Yeah, the big heavy geezer.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
him.
that's it. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. So so was that, and because I had like, oh, what am I going to do now? I need me fix. So I started watching the last season of Toast of London, as it's now called, Toast of Tinseltown, starring the fantastic Matt Berry as Stephen Toast, who tries to make it big in America by getting a part in the latest Star Wars movie. Science fiction. Yeah. I don't know. I think they just keep ramping up the craziness.
Yeah.
Every season of that show. And I just love the names as well. The names of the characters that they think I'm in that. It's just excellent. It's just so random. It must be like a random name generator.
I think it's just something that Berry does because
Russ Nightlife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But
Jesus Bond.
Well, it's like when he was in What We Do in the Shadows, when his character goes and hides away, and it's like, I'm Jackie Daytona, normal human bartender.
Yep. Who has the amazing hypnotic toothpick as well.
You don't recognise me with my toothpick in.
Fantastic stuff. So so yeah, I've even come to the end of that now. I finished that today.
Oh God!
So I'm piling through these shows like nobody's business. I might even try watching, was it Year of the Rabbit now, which is another one of the Matt Berry shows where he plays the Victorian detective.
Oh yes.
With the famous line, but what you don't know is I've got a pocket full of dog turds.
Yeah. There's also the thing on iPlayer that he did, which was like a voiceover documentary for wildlife.
Was it?
A wildlife documentary.
What's it called?
I can't remember. If you just look up his name on iPlayer,
I'll have to go through.
It's like a wildlife documentary about the first episode's about wolves. And it's like, look at him, the smug bastard. That's why he's an alpha. Sort of thing. And it's quite funny. It's just like 10-minute things. Obviously, he was just pissing about with a bit of natural history footage and just trying to make something.
I've seen when Bob Mortimer did it. I think they were on iPlayer, but I think they're all on YouTube. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other week after several wines, we could find them all again.
Oh, nice.
Matt Berry does ghosts.
Oh,
Look at this, the screaming Kenneth. Look at that bastard.
That's it. Matt Berry on. That's it. Yeah. The screaming Kenneth.
Right. Okay. Then
the wolves one is probably the best. The wolf accelerates. The antelope is fucked.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look all of that up.
Nice.
And have a watch.
Okay. Cool. Right. Well, is that it, sir?
Yeah, that's it. That's
cool.
It. I can't remember anything else I did anyway. It was,
I can't remember my name.
No,
I'm
I
lost.
didn't do anything else interesting.
I'm
so
old.
Yeah.
Well, okay then. My fortnight. Well, let's do the media things. I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Mediocrity,
Right.
which I thought was just meh. I've never walked into a film going, "Oh, I wonder what's going to happen with the multiverse," and come away thinking, "I didn't give two fucks." I genuinely couldn't. I just walked away like, "Yeah." when there's like an end credit sequence and you're sitting there, you watch it, and then suddenly someone turns up and goes, "Hello," and you go, "Who the fuck's this?" And they go, "You coming?" And you're like, "I don't really, please, just don't." I can't, no, just don't. I don't want to see any more random silver spangly people just randomly turn up and go, "I'm Jeff Lampstand. Please come and help me fight the Grimgrobs." It's just like, I don't care.
So can we safely say you're done with the Marvel universe then?
I mean, to be quite honest, unless it gets its fucking arse in gear and actually starts doing something interesting. At the moment, all of it feels like it's treading water. All of it.
Have you watched Moon Knight yet?
Yeah, I watched Moon Knigget, and it was fine, but it was fine. It could have been anything. It could have been called Mental McMentalface pretends to be a superhero. It didn't need to be Marvel anything. I mean, I feel like every time a Marvel film comes out, I'm sitting there watching a franchise trying to realign itself to try and come up with something that it did effortlessly over 10 years. And ever since Endgame, all I've seen is just random movies, which are all just having the Marvel logo slapped on them and just like, this could all mean something soon. And it's just, we've done what? 8 films or 5 films now since Endgame, and like when's it actually going to decide what it's doing? You don't, if you're not introducing new characters and you're not introducing new threats, you're just having just people we've seen before just running around punching each other. It's just like,
Yeah, I must admit, with the up and coming Thor movie, I'm a little bit skeptical about that.
To be quite honest, to me that's just doing what everything else has been doing, which is just wrapping it up. And it seems like it's like an extended epilogue. It's like we got to get rid of the Hulk and replace him with She-Hulk. So we got She-Hulk now. We got to get rid of Hawkeye and replace him with Kate Bishop. So we just had we've got new Captain Marvel going out the window to replace her with Miss Marvel. We got, new Iron Man, which is actually Riri Williams coming in as Ironheart. We got new. It just seems like all they're doing, and was it Captain America becoming, Sam and everything? It just feels like all they're doing is they're spending these X amount of properties and shows and everything, just throwing everything to the wind, going, I wonder if any of this stuff works. and then just going, yeah, now we've got a replacement for this person who's obviously getting too expensive, and now we've got a replacement for this person who we got killed off, and we got a replacement for this one who's obviously too expensive. We got a replacement for this one which was too expensive with CGI, but now we can just spray paint her green. It's just like, it just feels like there's now, instead of like a narrative pushing towards a goal, it just feels like everything's just there. We don't know what we're doing. And then they're just going multiverse. And multiverse, I've got to be honest with you, is where I bailed on the comics. Because to me, the instant you suddenly go, well, okay, we killed off superhero character Fred, and now we're going to bring in his alternate universe equivalent, non-union equivalent, Fredo. And it just feels like by introducing that stuff, it's just like, oh, that's what you're doing. It's just like, oh, look at all these millions of different ways we can make Captain America or Hawkeye or Black Widow, or and it's just like, so okay, so they die, so we'll just get them from another universe.
Well, this is where they dropped the ball, really. They made the classic mistake they always made in the early waves of superhero movies, like Burton's Batman. Big character, let's kill him.
Yeah.
In the comics, that doesn't happen because they want them to come back.
Mm.
And
Exactly.
Marvel, surprisingly, have done the same fucking thing now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, guys, a lot of people would just be happy to see the heroes go and do an adventure.
Yeah.
We don't have to flip things around and change it and all this bollocks.
Well,
just give me another adventure with these characters. You don't have to, this breakneck, it's got to be changed. It's like what's happened in the comics where everything, the continuity in both the Marvel and the DC comics get fucked up every summer with the crossover events. And it's just kind of like, no, I don't even know what universe we're in. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting without spoilers for Strange, but they literally introduce a character and then off a character, and that character on its own could have been a thing, and you could have gone, right, okay, this is great, thanks very much, we got a new character, I'm interested, I'm invested. But they just go and get rid of that character. They get rid of it, and you know full well that this character will be back.
Did you see the body?
Doesn't matter.
Mate.
No, it does. The rule is if you don't see the body, then they'll be back.
Look, if I tell you how that body was disposed of, you'll know I did see the body, and you'll also know who it is. So I'm not spoiling it for anyone.
Okay.
But I could sure go for some cheese strings. Anyway, so
no, don't dare.
See, you know what I mean. But the thing is, it's like now. And it just seems like that right there. I'm hitting the thing. That right there is just.
Let's all hit the mic stand.
Yeah, ready? Oh, it's
mic
performance
stand
art.
orchestra.
It's performance art. But the thing is, it's like that right there is just going. Here we go. This is laying out the multiverse in really its real goal, which is to say, this person's been offed. This person's been offed. Do you know what? Don't matter, because they're going to be back in their own movie from a different universe.
Oh, they will. Yeah.
And it's just like, as soon as you do that, where's the stakes? Where's the where is the jeopardy? Who cares? And like I say, and all it is just a way of taking old characters, and I can see it. They're just taking old characters, old legacy characters, and they're just putting them to one side, and you're going to get them all out of the way, and then you've got the multiverse alternatives or their non-union equivalents, and they just bring them in and go, right, okay, this is your new Avengers. Here we are. We have a new Black Widow. We have a new Hulk. We have a new Hawkeye. We have a new, we have a new Iron Person. We have a new Captain America. And it's like, well, there they are. Right, okay, fine. And then presumably we're going to get a new Black Panther, and then we're back to square one, just with different actors. So here we are. This whole phase has literally just been nothing more than just literally house cleaning. So what? So now we got to wait another 10 years till something else happens. And to be quite honest, they even did it with Strange themselves. You know, there's something said in the film that just left me thinking, oh, right, at some point they're going to get rid of him and just bring someone else in.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, and I'm just like, oh, and it's almost like you just see the fucking product, if you know what I mean. You don't see a entertainment thing, you just see the product.
Well, I think most of them are only as good as the actor's willingness to come back and do the role.
Or
That's
Marvel's willingness to back a truck of money up their lawn.
But yeah, but, you know, was it Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to do it anymore, got out. Chris Evans didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, no, but, you know, it's to me now, it's just, whereas 10 years ago, I'm like, oh, what, this is wonderful new experiment. These amazing things are happening. Look what's happening. The media landscape's changing. Wicked. Let's have a look at this. And it's a big arcing story. Fantastic. Now I'm going to see Marvel films. I probably will go and see them at the cinema, and I'll just be like, it's a Marvel movie. That's it. It's like going to McDonald's. I'm going to have a burger. I know what I'm going to get. It's going to taste like it's going to always taste. I'll go in there, enjoy it for what it is, and come out. I will not be sitting there going, oh, I wonder if this means. Boo. It's just like, I don't care. Anyway, so yeah, overall, yeah, Strange. I came away from it just going, okay, it's a thing. One thing that did come back that I watched, or did appear that I watched, that I'm thoroughly enjoying, despite myself, is Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Love that show. Which
I've watched 3 episodes of now.
Yep.
And I've got to say, there you go. That's what
you should be doing.
You have an episodic mini sci-fi little adventure. Galaxy doesn't have to end every fucking season. People can just still be human and have issues and emotions and interpersonal conflicts and problems, but they've got a mission. They get in, have an adventure, a little bit of fun, a little bit of back and forth, big space battle, thank you very much, a little bit of science fiction sprinkled in there with some concepts that are quite interesting, and then you get the fuck out, and job's done.
Yep, and people's emotional issues don't overshadow the actual main mission.
No.
That's it. It's just like, you know, they could like, we'll deal with those after we've dealt with this. This is it. It's like, thank you. Yes, put them over there. We'll deal with them in a minute.
Yeah. So that was totally thumbs up. I'm totally digging it. I mean, each episode so far has always had the same issue, which I've had with them, which is that they have a really decent build up, and then it seems like about 5 minutes from the end, they have no idea how to play how they realize they've run out of time. And they just go, oh, and something else happened off screen, and it got fixed, and it is done. Thank you. And they've done it 3 episodes now, and I'm just like, is this going to be a running thing? You know, the main problem gets solved off screen. It's like,
something else about the show. The one that plays the security officer, right? I'm sure a lot of people have made this mistake, but I thought that was the same actor from The Expanse.
No, not Cara. What's her face?
She's got the same look and have the same hair and sort of like the same sort of attitude. And it's like, is she just typecast? No, it's not. It's somebody completely different.
Completely different. But yeah. But anyway, so I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it despite some of its issues. But mainly, I'm really enjoying it. I'm also liking the engineer, the blind engineer.
Yes,
he's quite cool. Anyway, moving on. What else has happened? Oh, and I watched on Netflix Love, Death, Robots Season 3, and I've got to say, the most solid season of the show so far. There isn't a single episode in it where you're not thinking someone's had a good little thought about that, had a little bit of laugh in certain places, other places they're having, fun with it. There's none of that season 1 and 2 stuff of just like tits, blood, gore, let's swear a lot and then call it a day. So I really enjoyed it. My favourite one is the one done by David Fincher, which is the second one, which is called The Passage I think it's called The Passage, which is about being on a boat, which is absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed that one. And I also like The Night of the Mini Living Dead, which is done like if you imagine the game Lemmings, but seen from sort of like a mile up in the air at high speed. You know, they had those rack focus videos for a while where it made all the cars look like they were little models in cities. Yeah. Imagine that, but a zombie outbreak. And it just puts everything on this teeny tiny scale. So you got lots of people going, "Oh the fuck!" And then like thousands of little things going, just taking over cities. And a little model of like the White House going, "Zombies, fire the bombs," and all this sort of thing. And it's just so ridiculous, but it's really good fun. I enjoyed it. It made me laugh. But all of them, with the exception of perhaps the last one and one which was just obviously just macho bullshit.
Yeah.
All of them are like good little portmanteau science fiction stories. And I enjoyed every single one of them.
I've only ever seen, I think we watched through about halfway through season 1. I thought one of the most enjoyable ones in that was with the farmers, with the robots, with the mechs.
Oh, yeah.
That one. I really like that one. But everything else just seemed like style over substance.
Yeah, tits, arse. Let's swear a lot and then throw some gore at the screen and call it a day. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the same issue I had with the first season. The second season tried to skew away from that, but then eventually went back. But the third one, yeah, it's really good. Absolutely well worth it. Well worth a look. Other than that, what else have I done? Well, here's the last bit. The reason why we weren't here last week was because I had a team building meeting. Yay!
Build that team,
which required me and 7 or 8 others to get in various cars and from Bristol drive all the way to Panyi Fen, a fucking 850 metre high bloody hill / almost mountain in Wales. And you know what? For a team building meeting, it was pretty good because you know what? There was no fucking team around me.
No?
Oh no. Because you know what? Funny enough, the man who's had COVID twice runs out of breath halfway up the fucking hill. It's a bit of a shocker. Yeah. It might come as a bit of a shock. And you know what? No, with the exception of Rob, who I will say actively slowed down and used me as an excuse for not walking fast. Everyone else fucked off up that hill at light speed and left me to it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. And
there's no iron team, but
there is a bunch of using cunts. Yeah.
But there is an iron meat pie.
Yeah. And so they all stomped off up the hill, and then they got halfway up, and I caught up with them, and then they stomped off back up the hill again. And basically, I was going up the hill, and no joking, my watch was going, "Hang on, you're going to die."
Prepare to have a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, it was, because my heartbeat, when I was running, before lockdown, when I was running, I was kind of like trolling around doing my 5K at about 128, 130 beats a minute, yeah? Mm-hmm. As I was walking up this hill, I say it's a hill, it's a fucking enormous mountain, but as I was walking up this thing, my heartbeat was capping out around about 165, 170. And I was not feeling good. And I got all the way, and I had to keep stopping because my watch was just going, stop on my arm. So I'm doing that, and I'm just like walking up, and there's an old lady who goes up this thing every like 5 years or something with her dog, and she's like, fuck them, just let them go. Who cares? you get to see the sheep and you get to see that bird up there which is doing this thing, and she's just like talking. She's really nice. All these people I met up there were really nice. My group, my quote-unquote team, they are all a bunch of knobs. And they all just fucked off up the hill. And it was just like, well, thanks for that. You know, what's all this whole team business? We got to the top of the hill, finally got up there. The wind was doing about 80 mile an hour over the top of this crest of this hill. I mean, it was like a jet stream. And I took this photo of all of us. And then all of a sudden it was like, right, okay, cool. And then I suddenly thought, no, I said that I'd take a photograph of myself at the top of this hill for, you know, kids and someone in the office who didn't believe I'd walk up the hill. And so I got Rob to take a photograph of me sitting on this, like dead against the marker at 800 and odd meters high.
Yeah. And
I lay there and I'm kind of, ugh. And he took the photograph, and when I got back up and we turned around, the whole fucking team had gone. And we're like,
yeah,
where are they gone? Where are they gone? And Rob's like, I think they've gone to the second peak. And it's like, the second peak? And yes, sure enough, there was a second peak. Not quite as high as the other one, but you had to go down into a valley to go back up the peak. We went down the valley, back up to the top of the peak. We're standing there going, well, where the fuck are they? And Rob's going, I'm sure I saw them go this way. And then we're like, oh no, they've gone over the peak, gone down the other side. They're having a picnic.
Oh, lovely.
Bless them.
Bless them.
Having a picnic. So I get all the way, so I go down there. Now, by now, I look like someone stuffed a tomato full of fucking red paste and covered it in sweat.
Look like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, yeah?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's about the size of it. I get to this fucking picnic. I sit down. All I want is two things. I want water and food that tastes okay. That's all I want. I sit down. I'm immediately offered a falafel, but it's a vegan falafel.
Oh Christ!
A vegan gluten-free falafel.
Isn't like
which might as well just be
vegan anyway.
I don't know. Might as well have just been called raw sawdust rolled in something that smelt vaguely of onion at some point in time.
Butcher's shop floor.
Butcher's shop sawdust in a bowl. And then there was loads of stuff, and it's like I'm all going, oh yeah, we've got some guacamole, and we've got some hummus, and I'm like, just give me a fucking sandwich.
Give me a pie.
Use the Ron Swanson line. Excuse me, I think you brought me the food my food eats.
Yeah. And
I've got to remember that.
Yeah, sorry, I think you brought me the food that my food eats. That's brilliant. And so yeah, and then we stood there and had a couple more photos taken, and then we went back down the hill, and that was the end of that. But yeah, that was an utterly humongously horrible waste of my entire life. I mean, I'm sure I actually now 4 years. I'm going to die 4 years earlier because of that. And yeah. I mean, if I went again, I'd probably go by myself. I'd probably have a much better time because I wouldn't be expecting to be walking along with other people, as opposed to expecting to be walking with other people, only to be abandoned by 89% of them as they all fucked off the hill, all patting each other on the back. And then I got back into work next day. It's like, so, are we going to do another one? I think we should go canoeing. And I'm like,
I think you should go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Pretty much what I was saying. You know, I've got a very good excuse for not going, which is I don't want to.
I'm obviously in a team of fucking one, because that's what it felt like at the top of that mountain where you left me.
Exactly. But I tell you what, my Christmas team meeting is going to be great because all I'm doing to do is walk around KFC and have a burger.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was that. And then just when I thought my feet couldn't suffer any further, I got home, and then on Saturday I'm sort of like, okay, right, fine. You know what? Carol's ordered some garden furniture, It gets delivered. I pick it up. I'm going to take it into the garden.
Oh, no.
Pick it up. 29 kilo box. I'm thinking this is okay. I can pick this up. I pick it up. It slips and the fucking thing comes down corner first on my big toe. Yeah. And you know it's painful because it goes your brain goes through that sort of moment of realization where it goes this is in a place it shouldn't be, and you're like, right.
Yeah. Oh, here it comes.
And the pain hits you, but it hits you so hard that you go through the other side, like warp drive, out the other side of the pain, and you just start laughing like a maniac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know that.
I now know how Cenobites get off on it. I mean, I do. I mean, literally, but I came out the other side. I'm like, fucking hell, in the middle of the alleyway between our two houses. I'm sure my next door neighbour thinks I was killing someone, but it was like, fucking hell. And then all of a sudden, Katie's standing there and she's like, you best go inside. Are you okay? And I'm like, I've got this big box about sort of like 6 foot by 6 foot full of wood, just like stuck on my toe. I'm like, oh my God.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're anything like me, but when I get those moments of, I'm waiting for my brain to catch up with the action that I've just seen happening in front of me. It's a bit like one of those Benson and Hedges adverts. You know, the ones where they used to sort of like some shit goes off and they'd be like, suddenly light a cigar. The mild cigar from Benson and Hedges.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Dum. Yeah, he just starts playing playing a bit of bark in the background.
And it's just as the pain hits, that's when you stub the thing out on your face. It's just,
yeah. I think the camera would zoom out and zoom out and zoom out to a sort of orbital view, and you just see all the clouds just part as I scream. And just like a fucking banshee. Yeah, so that was fun. I think my toe can just about bend now. So, but there you go. So that's fun. So yeah, love it. Can't get enough. Can't get enough.
I had a similar thing to that when we were packing up to move, and my daughter had one of them. It's like a mic stand light. So you have like the springs on it, so it counterbalances it.
Oh yeah.
And the base of them, unbeknownst to me, are made of concrete.
Oh,
nice.
And I picked that up, and I saw in slow motion the bottom just slowly slip from the actual spring-loaded light bit itself, and it popped off, and then disappeared very slowly towards my foot.
Oh,
and I wasn't wearing my normal toe detector boots. I was just, I'm moving house. I'm just putting stuff in cardboard boxes. And wow, that still hurts now. That was just crazy amount of pain. That was.
It just hurts to think about it.
Yeah. And if I bash it, it's like, oh no, remember you did that once before.
Yeah.
So you'll be paying for that for a long time.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's good. That's something to look forward to. Thanks for that.
You'll drop something on it, and you'll be like, oh, I remember I did that before, didn't I?
Yeah.
But it was a lot heavier.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
It's like nostalgia pain trips.
Nice. Right. Well, there you go. Let's leave it at that. We didn't get any feedback for last week's episode, fortnight's episode, which was Boiling Point. Surprisingly enough, we did have some comments on the profile picture, which just ain't feedback. It's just like, oh, that's a good film. Looking forward to that. Okay. It's like, cheers. If anyone has any feedback, put it in the comments of the podcast. Don't put it in the title page because I won't see it. There you go. It's the way it works. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. And yes, let's roll the jingle and get to talking about when Jim met Andy. Not that Jim. Not that Andy. Roll the jingle.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll
Some
up
lubrication.
for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monica film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today. What will we say?
Hello, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, featuring a very special contractually obliged mention of Tony Clifton, or simply Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, is a 2017 American documentary film by Chris Smith. Thank you.
No, I'm not going to do it like that. No.
I was going to say, mate, your Welsh accent's fantastic.
Yes, well, I've been a Penny fan, haven't I? Fucking lost. Like a cunt. Anyway, hello. Yes, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, featuring a very special contractually obligated mention of Tony Clifton, a.k.a. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, is a 2017 American documentary film directed by Chris Smith. The film follows actor Jim Carrey as he remains in character as Andy Kaufman during the production of the 1999 film Man on the Moon, directed by Milos Forman. It was released on November 17th, 2017, through Netflix. We have no budget, we have no box office, we have nothing on the information. The wiki just simply says, the film alternates between contemporary interviews with Carrey and first-hand footage of the making of Man on the Moon almost 20 years earlier. Originally, according to Carrey, Universal Pictures had tried to withhold the behind-the-scenes footage so that people wouldn't think that Carrey was an arsehole. And that's about it, really. I'll skip the reception and everything. As per normal, we will go round the table and we will see what everyone thinks just top line, and we'll get into discussing it. Now, as it was your pick, Elton, and you have seen it before, presumably.
Yep.
Then what we will do is we'll come to you last.
Okay.
So, before I go any further, have the rest of us seen this film before?
No.
Nope.
Right, okay, so I'll just go in the usual order then. So Jim, what did you think of Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond?
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a fascinating look behind the scenes. However, I will say, immediately before watching it, I did sit down to watch Man on the Moon, which I hadn't previously only seen bits of before. And I will say, if you haven't seen Man on the Moon, or if I hadn't watched Man on the Moon, I might have had a bit of a different reaction.
Right, that's interesting, because I haven't seen it, so... Okay, that's interesting. So you came away overall liking it, did you?
Yes, yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough. Well, then we'll move on to you then, Dal. What do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Have I broken you?
You might have done, actually. There were some bits that really just annoyed me, I think. And there were other bits that I actually, I think it elicited a chuckle out of me at one point as well. It was something that Jim Carrey did. Oh, I knew I had it on the tip of my tongue earlier, and it's gone now. But yeah.
Well, we can worry. It'll come back.
I'll figure
to
it out. It will. Yeah, it will. But I'll agree with Jim. It's definitely a fascinating movie. And if nothing else, if you ever wanted a detailed breakdown of method acting, or someone who does method acting, then this is definitely it. I think,
Right.
this is like the closest I think you're ever going to get to really understanding or trying to understand what goes. I don't know. I really don't know. Was it brilliant? I don't know. Was it not? I don't know. I'm just. It's like watching a car crash slowly unfold. It's just, what was. I just don't. I have no. I can't even put it in a box or anything.
Okay.
This film.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll leave it there because we are going to get into talking about it. So
Yeah.
maybe it will all come back to you while we're
Indeed,
watching.
yeah.
While we're talking about it. Okay. I mean, for me, I started off absolutely hating it. I mean, I'm not like hardcore. I've been on movie sets before kind of bloke, but I'm not that kind of well travelled. But I will say, I've seen actors pretend to do this shit and play it up, and watching people simper around them, and everything about that just it makes my blood alternate between blood boiling and toe curling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really, at one point, I was just like, I don't think I can watch this all the way through. But then the film turned, and I thought, okay, do you know what? I'll follow this to the end and see where it goes, because it started to interest me, and then by the end of it, I enjoyed it. But I'll be honest with you, my entire reaction to the movie for the first 30 minutes was the same as Judge Hirsch's when he's in the makeup van and Jim Carrey comes in and turns the radio up too loud, and he's just sitting in the makeup van, he's just looking at Jim Carrey like, oh, just fuck off, mate. Fuck off. And that was pretty much my reaction for the first half of this movie. Is, oh, fuck off. But yeah, so it's a hard film to warm to, or at least it was for me. But by the time I hit the end, I was actually quite into it. What about you, Elton?
Well, I had seen this, I think, 2 days before I chose it.
Oh shit!
And I had a morbid curiosity about it.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't seen Man in the Moon. Or Man on the Moon, sorry. I'm not too sure if I want to see it. I think I'm really happy with what I got with this. Now, first time round, I was trying to process what I had actually seen, whether I hated Jim Carrey for doing what he did. I really like him anyway. Doesn't mean I like every single movie he does, but he doesn't irritate me. Normally, that over-the-top gurning, pulling the faces type thing, it just, that can grate on me. But with him, I don't know why, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, and to the point where I quite enjoy it, and it's a bit fun. And watching this, it was, I see the method, and I just had fun with it the first time round. The second time round, it matured for me. It was a sweet film to watch. Jim Carrey take you through this journey of him and learning about Andy and falling in love with the way that he works and his comedy and what he does and the outrageousness. And is it comedy? We're not too sure whether it is or not. It's comedy looking at itself, and that journey, and then watching the method with a hindsight, possibly, and just really, really enjoying it and really enjoy his little journey through it, and the way that it finishes at the end, and just everyone's, I think, relief that it's over, but also we're
Yeah.
kind of gonna miss this chaotic business that we're in. But I flipping love this. I don't know what it is, but it's really struck a chord with me, and I flipping love it.
Okay, cool. Right. Well, there you go. So overall, positive, if slightly mixed for starters. But yeah, okay, cool. Well, let's start. I mean, Jim, obviously, he's already, you've already started by saying that you watched Man on the Moon. So we'll skip that question, which I had written down. Cheers, Jim. I had only one note. I had one note, which was, has everyone watched Man on the Moon? So from here on, I'm winging it. But I mean,
well, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Jim, you said it took a different turn that you would have thought because you'd seen Man on the Moon.
Yes, because I think for me it was kind of I knew lots of bits and bobs about Andy Kaufman that I've picked up over the years. Because I mean, just for the the benefit of people outside the UK, here we know him in Taxi, and that's it.
yeah, that's
pretty
true.
much. And so it's kind of, but I'd picked up, say, like snippets about him, about his wrestling women phase. He's sort of like confrontational, kind of, is it comedy, and being quite happy if people walked out as well as laughed kind of approach and things like this. But it was all just like random bits. And I was always sort of intrigued, but and I don't know why I never got around watching the Man on the Moon film. I think it's just one of those, just I was meant to get to it, and I'd seen bits of it, and I kind of, I've missed the start, so I'll catch it later. But we sat down and watched it, and kind of, that is a brilliant movie. I mean, it's directed by Milos Forman, who did Cuckoo's Nest, Catch-22, and many others. And it is an absolute belter. But it really gives you an understanding of what Kaufman was like and the progression of his career and whatnot. And so when I kind of went into it was like watching the movie, then you watch the DVD extra, the making of. That's what the documentary was like. And I'm really trying to, I think if I hadn't watched Man on the Moon, a lot of it seemed a lot more nebulous, and I wouldn't have got it. Whereas if you know the movie, there's lots of things in this make a lot more sense, I think. Because you have the context of, his life story and his career path and what he was about, and like who Tony Clifton is, and why it was absolutely on the nose for Jim Carrey to go method and be Andy, because that's how Andy would have done it himself.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things in it that I was watching it, I was thinking, if we hadn't watched that Man in the Moon movie, I think I'd have been sort of, stop pricking around, you know what I mean? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, who's Tony Clifton? I don't know. You know what I mean? And kind of, but when you realise he set up this entire second career running parallel to his own as this kind of abrasive, sort of send up of a washed up lounge singer. And it was so, running, and people didn't know it was him. And, kind of, and people weren't sure for a long time whether it was real or not, because, his brother sometimes used to play Tony Clifton, but also his writer, Bob Zamuda, used to play Tony Clifton, so Andy could appear on stage with Tony Clifton, but going, shit, I thought that was Andy.
Do you know what? That's what made me laugh. That's it. It was, out of everything else, it was the fact that fucking Hugh Hefner thought he had Jim Carrey at his party, and then Jim Carrey suddenly strolls through the door with this Tony Clifton, and he's suddenly, oh, why don't you fuck off my party? Get out. And I thought, yeah, fuck you, you wizened old twat. Go on.
I mean, I've got to say, I had no experience with Andy Kaufman before Taxi or after, to be honest. So I'm a bit like you, Jim. I was kind of coming at it with bits and bobs. So watching this documentary was kind of like, we've said it before, when we do documentaries, and we've done quite a few in this version of Black Dog, but the thing you always come back to is if you go in with absolutely no knowledge, do you come away with any understanding? And I'm not entirely sure I did. It's like, I'm watching this film, I'm watching this documentary, I have no idea what the appeal was of Andy Kaufman, and I really don't get why nobody just didn't punch the fuck out of him as Tony Clifton. And, you know, but, you know, he's sort of standing there and he's miming to tapes, and I'm thinking, my dad used to do that in the 70s. I mean, that's not comedy. That's just someone just being stupid. And so I was kind of coming at it from that perspective and not really knowing anything beyond what the documentary was showing me. And that was, I don't know if it was a bad thing, because, you know, you could almost argue that, you know, Andy's thing was to sort of like play with reality, and then suddenly you find Jim Carrey and his documentarian actually doing the same thing, and and I was going to say, does it make you think, Jim, specifically, does it make you think that some of the stuff you're watching was done purely for the documentary or done purely for the camera?
I suspect some of it was. I don't think you can stay in character all the time. But and I think kind of he had this as a side project, but that was kind of part of the method, was to say you're going to be totally Andy all the time. That's the kind of Andy sort of thing to do. It's like, yeah. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think he very much had an idea of, you know, this could be a really interesting sort of side project, sort of, you know, documentary we're doing here.
Okay.
I mean, then you see him driving onto set and then crash in the car. That feels totally orchestrated for the documentary itself.
Yeah, the camera just happens to be in the right place to film that bit particularly happening. Yeah, and that's where the artifice kind of comes in a bit. Darren,
Yes.
You are the man most broken by this film. From the sound of it. I mean, how did you find Jim Carrey, seeing him acting like that on set with people?
Like I say, some of it was like, "Oh, do please fuck off." And sometimes listening to him talk as well, it's like, "Oh, you pretentious twat." You know, it got a bit like that for me. It got a little bit too Hollywood. And when it starts going that way, it's like, this just sounds incredibly false. You just, I'm sorry, but you don't sound like, you know, this is real.
What, when he was doing the narration? Like,
yeah, when he sat there, some of the there's certain ways that I find this more with Hollywood stars than anything else. American movie stars, that kind of thing, is sometimes how they word and phrase things is just a little bit, it's just annoying. It doesn't sound like a real person talking. It just sounds like somebody who's practiced this in front of a mirror. You know, this is not your honest feelings about it. This is a practice script you're reading off of here, mate, and it just sounds a little. It has the same sort of reaction as me as people using too much office speak. In like an office, you know, in the office you're in, when they start talking about tranches and stuff like this, and you know, do you know what I mean? I mean, everybody's experienced that. Somebody you know somebody uses a bit too much office speak, or somebody who suddenly goes into it when they're in the office, and it's like, oh, fuck off, please stop it. There's something you're doing. You're fucking with my brain when you talk like that. You know, just stop it. Just talk like a human. Yeah, you know, be sincere.
Let's blue sky think these things through, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And
just use normal words.
Flagpole. Yeah,
yes, you know, just don't use 6 words where one will do. You know, just do that. So there were times when I'm listening to it and I'm thinking that, but then there's other times when I'm thinking, you know what? I'm thinking this is more about Jim Carrey than it is about Andy Kaufman. because it's that it's where somebody's trying to tell you something and they say, well, I've got this mate who's got this problem, when it's not the mate, it's actually them. It's there were I can't quite remember which bits, but there were parts where it sounded like this was more about his personal condition and how he's growing up and, where he is mentally at that time than it is about what Andy Kaufman would do. Right? I mean, what was it? Jerry Lawler points out in that documentary, right? Because Jim Carrey didn't get it quite right with Andy Kaufman, right? He said when the camera stopped rolling, he said, me and Andy, we were friends. He said, he said he showed me great respect. He even called me Mr. Lawler. But Jim's not doing this. He's just being words to effect, he's just being a fucking twat all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, has he taken this too far? Did he do his research enough on this? He goes on about, oh, Andy would like it this way. But it's like, well, quite obviously, this is not the way he did it. Because here's a man who was there at the time, who actually experienced Andy Kaufman, who can tell you firsthand that is not what he was like.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the question, isn't it? It's you can do the research into someone, but you don't really know someone. I would
have thought with the Jerry Lawler thing, because that was quite big. I would have thought that would have been, he would have got that spot on. If he'd been like that, then great, excellent. But I don't know.
No, I noticed the whole thing about the sir. He would have done this and would have done that, and it's kind of like I kind of felt like at that point it was like, yeah, Jim's version of Andy is the version that was seen outside. If you know what I mean, it wasn't seen behind closed doors.
But then he's doing a biopic on him,
his
and it does do.
interpretation of it.
But then he's supposed to be doing a biopic on this bloke, and it does show behind the scenes stuff. So
exactly. I mean, Elton. I mean, you've seen it twice. I mean, you said you felt. I mean, you said it felt more heartfelt, whereas what Darren's saying is sounding a bit more insincere, and I'm kind of wavering between the two. But I mean, what was it about this time around you made it feel more heartfelt then?
I really like the pieces to camera. I really, really do. I like the Jim Carrey story. And yeah, it is about Jim Carrey and his story and how Andy kind of attaches himself to his life. He looks up to him. He's one of his heroes. And then he gets to play his hero in a movie. That's the pinnacle of what he wants to do, isn't it? You want to be a comedian, fine, you make it. You want to make it in movies, fine, you make it. Then you get to play the person that you really looked up to. Incredible stuff. And then you get the pieces to camera, and you don't necessarily get Jim Carrey like this. If he's doing an interview about a film, there's always something. There's always, even though everyone's looking at me, look at me a little bit harder. And I didn't feel that. And I thought it was very sincere. It was very chilled. There was no rubber facing or anything like that. It was, he did a few impressions, but that's as far as it went. He looked, tired, worn out. I know something happened in his life. I forget what it was though. But
his girlfriend died, and the family, pretty sure the family accused him of being the reason why. I think she committed suicide.
Oh right, okay.
yeah, I think they blamed him for it.
Right.
So,
Well, when did that happen? That must have been, what,
10 years ago.
7 years ago, I suppose.
Mm. Yeah, I'm frantically looking through Wikipedia, seeing if I can find anything.
But, well, this Jim Carrey, it seems to be the guy that's taken a step back from everything. This is the guy he's done it now. He's done the hero thing. He's done all the comedy, he's done all the movies, and now this is the reflection of what he's done. And you're naturally going to get impersonations that bleed in there because that is the way that he tells his story and it comes across. But just the sincerity from him, I really appreciated it, and I really, really liked it as well. It was soft, it was calm, it wasn't eccentric, it wasn't crazy, which you would expect to happen. And you saw this, the way that he does take on Andy. It is his own version of it. And I think when it got to the wrestling bit, maybe he hadn't met I forget the name of the wrestler guy, but maybe
Jerry
he hadn't
Lawler.
met him before shooting had started. I get the impression that he was already in the flow. And so he meeting someone and then trying to do the Andy thing of backing off wouldn't have been in his character that he was doing. If he was on it all the time the way that it was represented in this movie, then maybe it's really hard to put the reins on and just reel it back a little bit and then do the Andy thing, but behind the scenes that seems a bit complicated. It's far easier just to keep steamrolling through everything, causing chaos, being the center of attention all the way through.
Yeah. I mean,
but I honestly, I just thought it was. I know I said at the very beginning, I don't think I need to see Man on the Moon, but I wasn't expecting you to say, Jim, I wasn't expecting you to say it was a fabulous movie. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I will go and check that one out.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I almost don't want to see Man in the Moon because I don't want it explained. I just take the documentary on face value. I'm not entirely sure I'd get on with the whole Kaufman thing anyway. But I mean, for me, the method acting thing in general, I mean, away from just Carey himself and Andy Kaufman, is a thing which I struggle with. I mean, I struggle with people who want to get so far into it that you've got to refer to them by another name, that you've got to see them as a totally different person. It's like, who's that really for? You know, why are you doing this? Is it just, you know, how does someone constantly referring to you by a different name make your performance any better? I don't get it. And I'm sure if there's actors out there, or if there's people who do acting or understand the method of it, I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to understand. I mean, you know, teach me, because I find it fascinating from one perspective, but I also find it a intensely self-centered thing.
I see it as a way of carrying on the performance, and yet I know the old cliche of, well, just do acting, my dear. Just act. That's how I get into parts. But if you're in a space where you enjoy it, you like that sort of thing, and you really understand this character, sometimes I would imagine it would be easier to stay in character than to dip in and out of it when required.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say that was the thing that kind of finally landed for me was Carey towards the end, sort of saying, well, you know, maybe I just wanted to be someone else, or I'm so used to everyone expecting me to be one thing that being able to just be another solely and wholly just stops you from thinking about your life or what other people want you to be.
I did like that. I must admit, I can kind of identify with that.
Me too.
When I've done cosplaying before, masks on, stuff like that. It's kind of, you don't have to be you. You can be someone else for a little while. Yeah. So I agree with that. It's
yeah. I mean, for me, it was like back in my slightly longer days when I was a bit more, shall we say, hair trigger with the anger and more ranty. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to take much to work out that I've calmed down quite a bit in recent years, but that's partly because I've stopped dancing to that tune. And I always remember, being in the pub after, at work, cartoon, and some of the earlier shindigs and all this kind of thing. That it was kind of like people run up to you and go, not that I'm like some famous dude, but it's like people expect a thing of you.
Yeah, they do.
They want to come up and run up to me and go, ha ha, Fifth Element, ha ha, Scott Pilgrim, ha ha, Pokey the bear. Because they want Pokey the bear to turn around and go, fuck it out, and just go off on one. And that was the thing that bothered me quite a while, was just like, people don't want me to have a conversation with them. People want me to shout, rant, make creative swear words, and then just fuck off and make them laugh. And so that bit, when he said, isn't it, it was good to not be the person that everyone expects you to be and actually just be whatever it is that you are. It was like, that's quite a profound thing. And that's when the film turned for me, because I was like, okay, I get it. I didn't get it at the start, but I got it by the end. But overall, I still don't get. It sounds a bit weird after what I just said there, but I still don't get the whole method acting thing of just forcing everyone to treat you different. Because if you do that, then surely you're doing the same thing that you were trying to run away from. if it's trying not, I don't want people to box me up and make me perform like a monkey for them. Then why do that by forcing people to treat you in a certain way again? Does that make sense?
For a character like Andy Kaufman, you need a certain kind of energy and predictability. And I mean, from watching Man on the Moon, I would say Andy Kaufman was definitely on the spectrum somewhere.
Definitely.
And I think if you're just doing a bog standard part, like third hooker in the bill, you don't need to go method.
No.
You know what I mean? If you're appearing in Sorority Babes at the Slime Bowl Bowl-orama, you don't need to go method. However, I've noticed that the people who do go method is when they're going for these complex characters, and I think the lesser end of it is kind of like when characters have to do a certain voice or an accent, they will often keep that up because it's they need to be always
it.
To maintain it. And when you're switching in and out, then the accent will start to slip in your performance. And it's that amped up. And people who go super method, they're often going into like, kind of super intense characters. I mean, Kaufman has he has different ways of speaking, a certain body language, a certain energy. And I can imagine it was kind of, you can't just turn that on and off. And especially when, Jim Carrey is a huge Kaufman fan anyway. I mean, one of his, he did a documentary himself about Andy Kaufman quite early on in his career. Rightly. Yeah. So it's kind of that, you really have to inhabit the role. And, you go as far as you can to get the truth, I suppose. Because otherwise it starts getting too fucking schizophrenic. You've got to decide if you're going to be one person or the other. But flipping back day in, day out on a movie set, I imagine actually that's a reason why when people are doing these intense games, they do go method, because actually it's weird, but it's less psychologically stressful and damaging to be effectively a split personality for 6-10 week shoot.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm just being a bit too blunt, just kind of whittling it down into sort of like, oh, I don't understand it. It's wrong. I mean, that's
Well, I think with the documentary, it's showing you the bad side from it as well. You have moments of when it first starts, when he first rocks up on set. You got Danny DeVito and all the other guys going, it's weird, but it's good. It's really weird, but it's so good. And you know he's hit a sweet spot with that. And then we see it, and it continues, and it gets a little bit too much, and you can see the annoyance creeping in, and then old Tony turns up.
Yeah.
And then that's, okay, now we've turned everything right up to the max, haven't we?
Yeah.
And because that is just pure obnoxiousness, if that is a word.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I mean, obviously you've seen the character before, Jim, because of the movie, but I mean, how about you, Darren? What did you think of Tony Clifton?
Oh, an extremely punchable character. Really, just annoying. Really, really fucking annoying. It nails down a fucking chalkboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Elton, how did you feel about the character?
Yeah, I really didn't like it. It was as if Andy is anti-comedy, then he's done Tony to be anti to the people that actually like his comedy.
He's a bully. The character is a bully. That's it. He's it's not a very nice character. It's got nothing good to say about anybody.
But why is it there?
Himself. Who knows? Maybe that's the thing. It's to provoke a reaction, like a lot of Andy's comedy did.
Well, yeah. I mean that seems like it to me. I mean, Jim, what did you think? I mean, you know, is there a bigger explanation from the Man in the Moon movie? I know we're kind of asking you to paraphrase like 2.5 hours of documentary and the movie as well.
In the movie, you get more of a sense of. I know there's the point of Tony Clifton that he created this kind of complete alter ego and a parallel career, and it was kind of, I think he realised he could do some things as Andy Kaufman, but he could only do other things as Tony Clifton. Tony Clifton was very much about kind of sending up that kind of brat packy, overrated, mediocrely talented, sort of musical star, and it was a send up of that, and that kind of, especially because in Man in the Moon, kind of when he signs the contract to do Taxi, he insists that Tony Clifton gets 4 guest appearances, and his agent Harry Shapiro, the Danny DeVito character, and everyone's going, "Who the fuck's Tony Clifton?" He finds him. He goes to this seedy bar. The scenes on a nightclub where Tony Clifton's playing, and he doesn't realise it's Andy at all.
Yeah,
but it's that kind of. It's like, they're talking to the audience. I think it's him pushing how far you can get away with that kind of audience interaction and just be fucking shit on stage before people bottle you off.
Yeah.
But he was also this kind of, Clifton sort of came in as kind of, sort of like a wedge. And he used sort of Tony Clifton to lever things and to wind people up and fuck with people, and he was like the evil Andy in a sort of weird way, not quite that, but that's one thing I had a lot more context for the whole Tony Clifton stick, thanks to Man in the Moon. And in that, when you see some of the things he did as Tony Clifton, it was pretty fucking funny. You know what I mean? Because the way he's kind of just, I mean, you know, he played it for years that people didn't know, weren't sure whether Tony Clifton was Andy or not.
Yeah.
Which is quite something to pull off, to the extent that when he died, people did wonder whether that was just another hoax.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that whole thing with the cancer diagnosis, I mean, obviously, is that, you know, you see that in the documentary. I guess it's in the movie, but it's, you know, that whole moment of people just not knowing if this is a bit or something.
Yeah.
And I kind of, that sort of point, I kind of go, right, okay, well, I kind of get Andy Kaufman now. He's always doing a bit and everyone's in on the joke. But the one thing I couldn't get my head around, and I guess this goes back to my sort of hatred of the whole method act thing, was when he's not only is he playing in character as Tony Clifton, but he's mugging for the documentary camera. And what I mean by that is not just crashing into the car, but the bit when he walks in with the two girls and they're doing a sound check on set, and it's like, even the girls who are either models or they're sort of background artists or whatever are kind of trying to get him to keep his mouth shut. And as soon as they tell him to sort of be quiet because they know it's a sound check going on, he immediately goes completely the other way and then basically fucks up a sound check.
Yes.
And, you know, and at that point, I'm wondering, well, is that method or is that just being an arsehole now? Because who's that actually for if not for the camera following him around on the documentary? Because everyone else on a sound check, everyone has to be clear of the set and out of the way. So that set is ostensibly, apart from like maybe a couple of sound engineers and a couple of lighting technicians and maybe a gaffer or two handling the electricity, that set is completely empty. So who and for what was that whole cocking them up for? And that's where I was kind of like really starting to turn against the film, because it was just like, you know, I get it, you know, he wants to inhabit the role, he wants to do this and he wants to do that and he wants to get into the position and understand, you know, what Tony Clifton was all about and what Andy Kaufman was all about. And then what you actually see is him just being an absolute bellend purely for the documentary crew. Because if the documentary crew weren't there, would he have done that? Would he have been that dick?
I get the feeling he would.
Yeah?
Yeah, do you know, I've only just realised what it reminds me of. Lee Francis.
Oh, God, yeah.
Keith Lemon and Avid Miriam and all that sort of stuff. Where you have a character, but that becomes the character known as a different personality. Not just a skit, not just a thing, but an actual, it is a flesh and blood person. And that is what has happened with Tony and Andy. And I think that's what Jim was doing it as well.
Carey, you mean, not Jim, our Jim.
Not our Jim, no.
Or maybe he is. Jim, is this a role? Are you playing the long game with us, Jim?
All the world's a stage, baby.
But we can see it nowadays with Lee Francis doing his little thing, and he pops up and he'll have like a new character, and it'll be that character for the next 5-10 years, and it'll be embedded. And then you're like, well, where does this character end? Where does the new one start? Where did the other one stop? Really strange. Really, really. But it is very clever as well. And then you get to be who you want to be when you want to be that person. And I think if, like with the sound check, I still think Jim Kerry would have been on there doing that shit, even without the documentary rolling. Because that's the character.
That might have been the character. I mean, okay. I mean, I take your point. I mean, Jim, Darren, step in if you've got any other viewpoints on this. But for me, I just don't see it. I mean, I get. I mean, okay. This is
the other thing you have to remember though is what I call the Darren Brown principle.
Go on.
The camera never lies, they say. That's bollocks. It lies its absolute head off.
Yeah.
Just because something's a bit shaky and you're told it's a documentary doesn't mean that's actually real. And I think there's certain bits in this movie I think were probably just put on for the documentary and everyone else was in on it as well.
Possibly, yeah.
Because that's the kind of fun and games actors do. And particularly when you're filming stuff for yourself while you're on the set, actors do all kinds of stuff like this to keep themselves amused because, you know, the reality of acting is a lot of fucking standing around from 4 a.m. onwards to do 10 minutes at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I wonder how far the so-called method bits, and particularly where he's being quite extreme, were actually another put on. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. But that's what I was getting to with the documentary. Is it a documentary or is it another skit? But you know, because too many of those moments where cameras were set up deliberately in positions which a documentary filmmaker would not have been in. You know, like I say, the sound check, the car crashing, the bit when he the camera's already focusing on the radio when he comes in and into the makeup room and to the makeup trailer, and you know, then he turns the bloody volume up to stupid o'clock, and it's just like, why is the camera even focusing on that?
Yeah. Also going into like the wrong trailer as well.
Yeah. And you know, and the only, you know, but then there are bits which seem very genuine, like the invading the Amblin Studios, invading Steven Spielberg's little hacienda on set.
Yeah.
Which to me immediately felt real because firstly the comedy died on its arse because the rest of the people surrounding him weren't in on the gig, and secondly you can see like 4 security guards like moving in quietly all around the edges. And that to me was, and the camera work and everything just felt like, yeah, he just did that on his own and just went off on one. And nobody was pre-warned about that. Because you could tell there's a security guard on the far left and he's got his arms crossed, but you can see that his arm that isn't crossed, that's at the front, if you know what I mean, his left arm is starting to move down towards something that may or may not be either a gun, a stick, or a taser. There's something going on there, and he was moving for it. and then you suddenly see Carey's Tony Clifton go, "Well, I'm off now. I'm going to go." And you think, yeah, there's a man who, for all of his method, realised any second now he was about to have 75,000 volts put through him just to put him out into the fucking street.
Yep.
And well, you're talking about the person that realised what was going on as well. In the wrestling scene, especially when he was supposed to be suplexed, and it was the cut moment, throw the stuntman in, but I'm still a bit confused as to what happened there, because I know Andy, I don't know if he was injured or not, but it was a case of, I'm going to pretend I'm injured and really ham this up to the absolute max and make the most out of it. And it seemed like Kerry did the same thing and once again got on TV for it because people didn't realise it was aping what Andy did. And that was really weird watching that. Now, I don't know anything about Andy at all. The only thing I did know, because I was too young for Taxi, so the only thing I did see, and that's only in the last 10 years, was the old McDonald scene all the way through. I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was quite good. But once again, it is just someone mouthing the words to a record. That was it. But to see Jim almost do the Andy thing and pull it off, even though he's aping it, is quite incredible, really.
What do you think, Tal? I mean, with the whole putting it on and putting all that sort of, is the documentary as genuine as you think?
Oh, I don't think it is. It's Hollywood. What can I say? It's like reality television is not reality television. It's because otherwise it would be really, really boring. That's it. There would be long patches of silence. There would be I think there are set pieces in there. I really do. I think the whole things with Tony Clifton and stuff like that. I think there is some of the shit made up for at least some of it anyway. I don't think I don't think it's 100% genuine at all. It just, like I say, just some of the way, some of it's delivery. It's I don't know. They're a bit. Oh, so don't get me wrong. Technically it's a good film. It really is. It's an interesting look, I suppose. Behind the scenes. But yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw it to you first, but then I'll throw it to everyone else as well. But how did you feel about him being Andy, meeting Andy's real family?
I thought, I don't know. You see, this is the confusing thing, right? This is where the short circuit comes with this. If they had said, we're thinking about letting Jim meet, him as Andy to meet the parents and act like Andy around them, I'd think, oh, now you've just pushed it. Yes, you've crossed the line here. Now, this is a little bit too, to satisfy your fucking ego. No. But then they show him coming in and, I had trouble swallowing Kerry's words where it was like, oh, they came to me and it's like they were trying to, speaking to him. They had another chance to speak to Andy after he died. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't digest that. I can't. Like it's got edges on it. It's not it keeps catching in my throat every time you say about this. Like, hey, I'm not saying I'm the Messiah, but I'm the Messiah. It's, I don't know. It just didn't seem right.
Right.
It just felt like, I don't know how to put the words on it. I think that's what Jim Carrey thought it was. I don't think that's. I don't know. It just didn't seem.
Stop asking me questions.
Even now, thinking about it, it just seems wrong. There we go. That's it. It just seemed wrong.
Yeah.
To do that. That's just ego.
Yeah.
Right there.
Such
a blatant.
Yeah. So you sound like you agree there, Elton.
I think I do to a certain extent, where it could be the family going along with it so they don't offend Carrie.
You see there, what you say there, Elton, right? That alone, it just makes me want to swear, right? Them not wanting to offend him.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's like, is this what it's come to?
Well, they don't want to offend him because he's representing their son.
But he's not representing. This is.
He is.
It's not like
in the movie. He is, isn't he?
In the movie. Okay, fair enough. But it's like. Can you take a step back and look at this? Right, he's the one doing the impression of their dead son.
Yeah.
Right. If anybody should be offended, it should be them.
Yeah.
Right. They're the ones that should be that people should be worried that they're going to get offended. But no, it's the family of this person that's died. They're worried about offending the person that's doing the impression of their dead son. Really.
Well, look,
This is. I'm
That's
sorry.
all hypothetical, by the way. So, okay, deep breaths.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It just seems such a fucked up thing. You know, it just seems so backwards. We have entered the mirror fucking universe now.
but you have this situation where they could be humouring him and going, "Oh, that's really good, and I'm really proud of you, son." And then he's like, "Whoa, okay, now you've stepped over a mark there where you're actually accepting him as your son, as like the new embodiment of your son." Now, on the silver screen, you've done a grand job. You've portrayed their son perfectly, how he should have been portrayed, and how he would never ever be replicated ever again. Brilliant. But when it comes to being the person, instead of playing the person, you're being the person, and that is totally different. But then again, that is the method. Now, it could be the family stepping back and going, "Look, let's just humor it, let's just go along with it," or they're getting something out of it and they really do think that he's channeling their son. Now, who's to knock that person if they get something out of it? Who am I to knock that person if they get something out of it?
That's fair enough. You know, this is why I say this is where the short circuit comes. It's fucking RoboCop in his prime directive when he's like the bad guy's in front of him, but he's deep inbred programmed of he can't hit this person. It's kind of that. I'm like, but they're accepting it. So it's like, am I allowed to be to feel like this because they're accepting what he's doing?
You got to remember in these situations, I mean, I don't know all the details for Making Men on the Moon, but generally the family and people who are close to the subject of the biopic are consulted heavily from the word go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously
and
from this.
Which I imagine the family almost had the power to rubber stamp who got the role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of... I know it's what the director and the studio decided at the end, but you don't do a biopic and the family going, "It's a crock of shit, we hate it." That's not... But, you know, it's also, if you want to tell a true and faithful story, you know, you go to the people who knew the person and talk with them, and you know what I mean? And and I mean, I think Jim Carrey mentions in the documentary he already knew the family because he got Andy's congas, and so he met them prior to doing this project. So he had a relationship with them before the movie, before becoming Method Andy, which is I think it puts a different spin on things.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe I'm projecting too much of my own self.
I mean, I don't think you are, because I think at that point, they would. They go on. Sorry, go on.
What would you feel? Put yourself in that position, right? You've got a loved one that you lost, and then you had someone make a film their life, and would you be like that? This is what I'm saying. Am I projecting too much of my own personal?
I don't think you are, because that was the point I think that was the breaking point for me, and it was like either kill or cure at that point with the documentary, because that was about midway through, and they did that whole thing of bringing in the guy who was pretending to be Andy's father, and I thought, oh, don't go there with the family. Then then it goes to the thing when you suddenly see like Andy Kaufman's sister, and it's like, no, this is gone beyond the pale now. And then you get to that point where you see like the actual father and the actual brother, and I'm just like, oh God, okay. And my brain did a backflip, because it was kind of like, there's one of two things going on here. One, you've got the family pre-warned up front what he's doing, and just sort of going, well, if we keep him on track and Universal make money, we make money, and being really cynical about it. And then there was this point where Carey, in the present, so to speak, says, and then I spoke to his daughter who never met him.
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is, he says that, and it's curious by its absence that that's the only bit of footage that's not around. And at that point, my brain suddenly went, well, hang on. Are we sure it's really his daughter? Are we sure he really spoke to her? Are we sure that any of that stuff actually happened? Or that she if it did happen, that she reacted in the way that he's portraying? Because everything else has been warts and all, bare bones, lay it all out in the documentary, and then all of a sudden, the one bit of supposed genuine sincerity from an innocent who knew nothing is suddenly not on the screen. And at that point, my brain, I sort of went, hang on, this is a bit. It's got to be, because if it wasn't, and maybe it's me projecting now, but if it wasn't a bit, and it was genuine, then there's a level of bad taste to that I really don't think I can stomach. And then also there's a level of self-deception from the family that I don't think I can stomach either. Because either they're being insincere and trying to just keep Carey on track because the studio told them if this film don't get made, they don't get money, or they're being utterly sincere, in which case what Carey's doing is like a foul manipulation of their memories, and it just feels in poor taste. Because if you knew that your loved one, imaginary or otherwise, is out there and you've lost them, and they really do apparently come back from the dead for a meeting, you aren't going to just let that slide, and you aren't going to feel particularly well disposed towards someone who's manipulating your emotions in that way. But then on the other hand, we're talking about, and I mean no offense to this to our overseas listeners, but we are talking about Americans here who seemingly, from our outside perspective, will do just about anything they're told to if the fucking camera's in the way. And I felt like I wanted to go and have a wash after that scene. After he's hugging the sister and talking to the dad and talking to the brother, and then the dad goes, "Oh, I'm really proud of you," and you're just like, "Whoa, dude!" Just that's either horribly insincere or it's sincere. Either way, it doesn't.
A bit too far.
It goes too far either way.
Yeah.
And just for me, I mean, like I say, for me, that was the make or break moment of the entire film. Because if it didn't immediately start to analyse afterwards how, because then it kind of focuses more on Carey than the actual making of the film. It was kind of like him, using the Kaufman character as a kind of buffer, and you start to kind of pick away at that, I was just up for just going, oh, no. This is past. This is crossed the Rubicon now. I think I may have just. I think I'm about to have some kind of mad embolism or something, because this is just no.
I think, to be honest, you're just winding yourself up in with a hypothetical situation of what actually went on. When we don't know, and
We
as
don't.
I say, they
no.
did have a pre-existing relationship that have met Carey before this movie. And we don't know the ins and outs of that.
That's
so,
very true.
For me, it's kind of like, I'm not going to wind myself up over two things I've decided as being one or the other.
No, that's
in the
fine.
absence of any of the fans, frankly.
No, that's you know what, Jim. That's absolutely fine, and probably the most healthy mentally healthy thing to do. I think the problem just comes from the fact that, you know, and this goes back to whether or not the documentary is as genuine as it says it is. But the whole thing is, you know, we as audience members have conditioned ourselves to take certain things delivered as truthfully, if you know what I mean. And if we're asked to empathise with a certain thing, then we empathise with it. And if we're not asked to empathise with it, then fine. But the whole point of this documentary was to kind of get into the heart and soul of Jim Carrey and his process to make this movie about someone that he personally identified with and all this kind of thing. If he's asking you to identify with it on an emotional level, then you will potentially react in an emotional way. And that was the problem, I think, was that I did get involved. And so when I did see that bit, I'm like, no, fuck off. And actually, any other documentary, you know, watching, I don't know, when we were watching that dramatized one of the NWA, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you kind of sit back and go, wow, that's interesting. That's really cool. You're not sitting there going, well, oh God, will Eazy-E ever recover? You're just sitting there going, oh, that happened. That's a thing. But I think the fact it was presented in that kind of documentary style kind of does that thing of pulling you in and engaging with you, and you kind of buy into it, which I suppose is a success if you look at it that way. You go, yeah, I engaged with it to the point where I wanted to crawl out of my skin and under a rock and just go, oh my God, I hate everything. But by the end of it, I was on side, so you know, it did what it needed to do, I guess.
I think for me, for that scene is, I just watched Man in the Moon, which I can say is a wonderful, wonderful film. And I can imagine the family were very pleased, because Andy Kaufman had a lot of shit talked about him over the years. He was a very decisive figure in his lifetime. He had tons of bad press, to say the least.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think this film tells his story. I know there's the usual shortcuts and massaging of events to a little bit to make it work as a movie story rather than a drama, you know, a docudrama. But I think it actually it gets across who Andy was, what he was trying to achieve, what his talent was, and how talented he was, even though sometimes that put him at odds with everything, but you understood why he was doing some of this stuff. He was, you know what I mean? And because I had very mixed feelings about Andy Kaufman. It's kind of people go on about him. It sounds like a dick, actually. You know, you know what I mean? He was just confrontational and irritating. You know what I mean? Kind of, or was he a comedy genius? I don't know. I'd not seen much, but if you sit down and watch Man in the Moon, in the first 5 minutes, I suddenly was on board with that movie, and I had a clear idea of what he was about. And I think the film is a wonderful tribute. So when I sat down and watched the documentary, I could see why the family would respond to him in that way, because he's, you know, he's not bringing Andy back from the dead per se, but he's telling Andy's story. He's he's taking the legacy out there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to find the right words, but it's also, that's one of the things, if you've seen the movie and the ups and downs, and his family are characters in the film as well.
Mm.
And you do get to realise kind of, it's not focused on 100%, but it is there kind of, he does have ups and he has big downs as well. And his family are like, oh my God, what's he doing?
Mm.
And you get a sense of kind of, it wasn't perhaps always easy to have a family member who was that kind of a celebrity and had that particular kind of reputation and fame. So it's all, I mean, it's kind of, I think it's very, I shouldn't, I have no experience of what it's like to be in that sort of situation, to have someone who is a celebrity in your family and, and everything went with it. So I think it's very hard for us to sit and judge, basically, because there's so much, even if you did know, you wouldn't understand because you haven't lived it.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's kind of interesting that by the film's conclusion, it's kind of something that it seems to me that Carey didn't want to return to. He was happier being Kaufman and being outrageous and being able to hide behind a mask that just allowed him to do whatever the fuck he wanted and take no responsibility for it.
Well, maybe that's why it was method. Because maybe he couldn't dip in and out of it. Once you've done it, that's it. You've done it.
Yeah, you've engaged.
You can't get back there.
Yeah, maybe. Interesting. I mean, I don't know what else to bring up on this, to be honest. I mean, does anybody else have any additional thoughts or anything they want to bring up about it?
It's a very different movie to anything that we've done before, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can't say I'm not glad I watched it. I mean, had you asked me 30 minutes in if I was glad I watched it, I would have given you a very different response.
Well, you put something on Facebook, and I apologised immediately. Oh God, no!
Yeah.
It's gone horribly wrong. Don't look at it.
It was because I was just I was enjoying more the reaction of Danny DeVito, Paul Giamatti, and Judd Hirsch than the actual documentary itself at that point. Because it was just like you're just watching three people all sharing the same thought without talking. It's just like, oh, fuck it, hell. What is this? This is going to be a long job. You could see it on their faces. But, yeah, so, like I say, it kind of calmed down and I just settled into it. Jim, any last thoughts?
Nope.
Fair enough. Cool. Darren? Going very witchy there.
Any last thoughts on this? It's as you say. I also not sorry that I watched this. It was a very interesting documentary. No matter what I might say about or have my judgment about certain people's motivations and stuff like this, it was a very interesting documentary. It's not. Any piece of media that provokes a reaction, and I don't mean this is shit, but actually a proper reaction, an emotional reaction to what's going on screen. I think that shows a good piece of media.
Yeah,
and this is that. This is a good piece of media. It provoked a reaction in me, several different reactions, varying degrees. So yeah, I mean, I would say it did its job. It did very much what Andy Kaufman did, which was to provoke a reaction.
Yeah, elicit a reaction.
Yeah,
fair enough. Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there for the moment. If anybody else has watched this and has any other further takes on it, by all means, send your feedbacks in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. or drop us a line on the old Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast, or jump in on Twitter. We are at Black Dog Podcast. Right. So before we get to saying goodnight and goodbye and God bless and all that, it's time to find out what Darren's film is going to be for next week.
Can you just pause it right there? Sorry, what do you mean mine? I thought it was someone else's. I thought it was it not Jim's or something?
No.
That was a bit of a
That was his boiling point. Elton did this.
Jesus fucking H Christ.
Darren, come on.
It's okay, I'm still recording because I knew you'd be out unprepared because
Yeah.
we knew. It's
So
okay.
what you got prepared for us?
Yes,
oh
sweet.
well, you know,
Fucking
off-
Man on the Moon.
yeah, Man on the Moon. There we go. You fucking twats. Right.
I
right,
do
hold
have
on.
I do have one in backup
Hold on.
if it comes to it.
Give me 2 seconds. All right,
Okay,
1 minute.
I'm just going
1
to
sec.
pause it now.
Yeah, just 1 sec. Okay.
There will now be a short intermission.
Welcome back, and now we've finally got Darren to pick a film.
3 days later.
3 months
3 days.
later.
3 days later.
Yeah. So go on in, Dal. What's our film?
Well, this is one that I did actually have noted for future watching, and it's just come to mind right now. Actually,
In a panic.
in a panic,
Sweat. In a cold sweat.
just to give a little bit of context before I actually say what it is. You know, I've had my my different reactions to various Star Trek media over the years. All right. So, you know, I've got a history with Star Trek, and I love Star Trek. But I've got to say that one of the most Star Trek films I'd ever seen is not a Star Trek film.
Go on.
And that was Galaxy Quest.
Right.
Now, Galaxy Quest is not the film we're going to be watching, because that
we have done
is
before.
we've done that. But what we are going to do is we're going to watch the documentary about Galaxy Quest
Right.
called Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary.
Okay.
And it's all about the making of the film. It's interviews with the stars and stuff like this, stories about what went on set. I've not seen this, but I've heard it's very, very good.
Okay.
So
What's it on?
it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Okay. So, right. So this is a DVD extra. from the... Okay.
Well, it's an 86-minute DVD.
It's a
extra.
short watch then.
Yeah, short watch. Yeah,
Okay. I'll tell you what. Why not? Why not?
yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah. I think it'll be something of a cultural whiplash from the in-depth soul searching of Jim and Andy.
Oh, yeah. I should imagine it would be.
But okay. Fair enough.
But you know what? We like playing emotion tennis on the
Yeah,
Black Dog, so
we certainly do.
we're batting it back into the lighter realms.
Okay. Well, you hope so.
Well,
if it
well,
turns
yeah.
out to be a-
So, oh God, no!
Yeah. So, okay. Well, first off, has everyone seen Galaxy Quest before?
Oh, yes.
Elton,
No.
you've never seen Galaxy Quest?
No. I know of it. I haven't seen it though. Do I need to see it first?
I think you might.
Yeah, I think you'll get because I know you're not a Star Trek fan, so I think you will get an actual kick out of this because it parodies all of that, right down to the wobbly sets and stuff like this of the original series. So you may very well get on with Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Yeah, not laughing now, are you? This joke has backfired upon you quite spectacularly, Mr. McManus.
My medicine, and it is tasting bitter, isn't it?
It is. It's like 1,000 lemons in my mouth.
Die by 1,000 paper cuts, you blaspheming so-and-so.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm afraid probably... I mean, watch the documentary and see how you get on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way of doing it. And if worst comes to the worst, we'll bump Galaxy Quest in for another rewatch. And force you to watch it the following week. You don't sound convinced.
I know there's a reason for me I have actually actively avoided Galaxy Quest.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is
Why
that?
is that?
I don't know. Don't know what it is.
Annoying Star Trek fans?
It could be, yes.
I completely understand.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I think you will. I think if you did watch the film, I think you would actually like it because it's not that at all.
Yeah, it's not actually an episode of a show.
No, I think you'd find it more interesting now that you've been to a sci-fi con or two.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Definitely. I
In
think
fact,
you might find more.
I think there's experiences here you could apply to just about any genre show where conventions are concerned. You know, so it's not just Star Trek, but I think there's obviously similar sort of stories to what goes on at cons with Star Wars actors, that sort of thing. You name it.
Yep. Yeah, I think you might get more out of it now than you think you might get out of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do. I think you might even enjoy the movie.
It is funny.
It is really funny.
Yeah, especially Alan Rickman with his character.
My spirit animal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's the pub?
I'm going to find a pub. Just like Mother used to make. Anyway, yeah, okay, so, there you go. Never Surrender. The Galaxy Quest documentary. From It's a thing. There you go. We're going to cover it on Amazon Prime.
Indeed.
Yeah. Fun. So we'll be covering that next week. And so we shall now move on to Pimp's Corner and find out what is happening in the wonderful world of Hypnagogia. Sir, do you want to fill us in?
Well, let me see what day we're on. Not Wednesday, are we?
No,
Nearly.
Well, in approximately 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Yes. So by the time you hear this, tomorrow I'll be releasing a double-length episode, which is the grand finale of my Nosferatu series. I will also have an episode on the last episode of Blackadder, which they do weirdly cross over, thanks to the First World War. And I'll also have a reading of The Tale of the Crogling Vampire at the weekend as well. So
nice. Cool. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
And what is going on over at Rogue 2 Media, Mr. McManus?
Well, we have the obligatory Grand Prix podcast with cars going around in circles. Shonky Lab had a visit from Mr. Metcalf.
Yes.
And Mr. Harvey as well.
Yes.
And we burned some topics.
We
We had a quick fire round of some topics on there, so we thrashed through some of them.
Yes, we certainly did. I listened to it on the way back from walking up the mountain.
Did you?
Yes, it came out a lot better than I remember. All I remember is kazoos and talking about the land of the Jawas.
Kazoos? Were we talking about kazoos?
No, I was using it as the bloody timer, wasn't I?
Oh, that's right. Oh, God, yes. Yeah, you did, yeah. And as far as I'm aware, on Friday, I'm on The Great Derelict as well.
Really? What are you talking about?
We are talking about the 20th anniversary of Minority Report.
Okay. The
20 years.
20 years.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, like as I put on Facebook today,
Oh, yeah.
If they rebooted Back to the Future right now, Marty McFly travelled back the same amount of time as he did in 1986 or whenever it was. If he went now, he'd be back in 1992.
Yeah.
We is old. We is very old.
The march of time doesn't stop for anyone, does it?
No, it does not.
But,
Unfortunately.
One other thing, I just asked the lovely listeners, if you don't mind, if you want to pop over to Apple Podcasts and give the Black Dog a review, or Hypnogoria a review, that would be great.
Or any of the Rogue 2 network.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
No, you can't take it. You can't go one way and you can't. No, you got to take your medicine. Go. If you like embarrassing Elton, go give him reviews on all of his Rogue 2 Media podcasts. Because who doesn't like doing that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do your worst.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if Red Letter Media can do it, they said in if one of their comments got 100,000 views, they'd review Batman, and it got 100,000 reviews in under 2.5 hours.
Oh wow!
So if they can do it, yeah. If everyone gives us if we get 100,000 5-star reviews on iTunes, we will review the Batman. There you go.
Well, look, we're at 78 reviews at the moment. If we get 100...
Oh, so close.
Once we get to 100, we can think about 1,000.
Yeah.
But
once we get to 100, we'll review Adam West Batman.
Oh, brilliant.
There you go.
Haven't we done that? We have.
No, we have not done Adam West's Batman, no.
I thought we had.
No, we had not. We did a Batman intro back in 2010, but we have not done Adam West Batman.
Yeah, you did the trilogy as well, didn't you?
Did we do the whole lot? Oh, no, we didn't do... Oh, yeah, we did. Dark Knight Rises, yeah.
Yep.
When I was shouted down in the pub because I thought it was bollocks. But anyway, that's another thing for another time. Right, well, that's it then. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. You know all the feedback routes and all of these lovely podcasts all the lovely hosts do. I'm assuming, Darren, you've got nothing to promote?
Absolutely nothing. Well, actually, I did submit a track to the interlude on The Great Derelict.
Oh, yes.
For the last one. So,
yes.
I am kind of on there for 2 minutes.
Yes, because she's a pass.
That's right.
Okie dokie. And yes, so we'll leave it there and we'll say thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
Not a problem.
And thank you again, everyone. And we shall see you all next week when we will be reviewing Never Surrender, the making of Galaxy Quest. Until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.